Trisha Paytas is actually a character, and she's been trolling everybody for years. Sorry to explain the joke, but I feel like a lot of people haven't been getting this, because Trisha Paytas is actually a character, and that's the whole joke. And I'm not saying that Trisha isn't a real person. It's complicated, so let's talk about it. The whole joke is something that other comedians have done, and it's about blurring the lines between reality and fiction. And that's a clue to how this is a character. Trisha Paytas often talks about how she's a huge fan of Andy Kaufman. In a quote, she said, "I'm a huge fan of Andy Kaufman. He made his living just being all sorts of characters, and nobody really knowing who the real Andy Kaufman is. And in a sense, I don't think any of you know who the real Trisha Paytas is either." And when you look at Andy Kaufman as a comedian, a lot of his act was about blurring the lines of who is Andy Kaufman? Is he just a real person, or is he a comedian? Is this a joke, or is it serious? The way that he acted it out, it was hard to tell if things were deadpan. He would come out to performances and on shows as himself, but he also acted like he was a character. It would have been like if Paul Rubin never stopped being Pee-wee, even in his off time. And Andy Kaufman would say that he was not a comedian, so this further confused everybody. He was quoted once as saying, "I'm not a comic. I've never told a joke. The comedian's promise is that he will go out and make you laugh with him. My only promise is that I will try to entertain you the best I can." But then he had stand-up comedy bits. And it's this idea of being an entertainer, but you're still a person. And a lot of people go and have characters and alter egos and personas so that they can do their performance. And some artists are open about this, like Beyonce talks about this. But sometimes when you watch his comedy, there's this weird feeling of, is this a character or just an odd and eccentric guy? And people are laughing at him, not with him. And people are laughing because they misunderstand the entire situation. And this kind of comedy lives in that in-between where some audience members are kind of unsure. And that's exactly what Trisha Paytas is doing. She's just blurring the lines of reality so that people don't know if she's a character or a real person, if she's being honest and sincere, or if things are just for a laugh. And this is why you can see videos of her saying silly things that she clearly knows the answer to. Like she says gravity doesn't exist. And you can find these old videos of her contradicting this, and that she knows that gravity exists. But this is the joke. It's like being extremely sarcastic. And she acknowledges this, but people seem to miss it a lot of times. So like when she told everyone that she was a chicken nugget, she was trolling them, but that Trisha is a real person. And some of the things that she's talking about are real, and some of them get wrapped up with the character. And so there are things about Trisha that aren't fake, and it's not trolling. I think when she talks about her gender identity and being non-binary and trans, I think she's being sincere with all of those things. But when people didn't take that seriously, then she goes and makes jokes about being a chicken nugget. And you can look across her career and see so many examples of this. A big part of the joke is throwing people's expectations right back in their face. And we saw the same thing with another one of her idols, which is Nicole Smith. Nicole Smith was always criticized for being the dumb bimbo, blonde, and she was brought on shows to be mocked by awful people like Howard Stern. And everyone would try to make fun of her for all of these things, but they didn't understand that Nicole Smith was leaning into this character. People expected her to be these things, so she leaned into being those things, and look, she became famous. And it's commentary on the entire system of how they treat women. People like Howard Stern, or other people who would mock Nicole Smith, belittle her and make fun of her, they were also the people who were pushing the gender standards that she was conforming to, such as the blonde, big-chested, stupid, rich, all of these things that society tries to push onto women and then mocks them for. Well, she became those things, and although she was mocked for it, she got a very successful career out of it. And it shows how men mock the thing that they're trying to create. And so looking at Trisha, the same thing goes for her. She pretends to be ignorant on things that she's very well versed at. People treat her as though she's stupid, not realizing that she might be one of the fastest speed readers in the world. And that she's been pulling off this character in everyone's face for years, and a lot of people still haven't figured it out. So when she pretends to be ignorant on things, most likely she knows quite well what's going on. And her pretending not to know or get something wrong is the entire joke. But we've seen over time that she has slowly cut toxic people out of her life, she's gotten deeper into her relationship, and she's been focusing on her children. It seems like this very healthy transformation to where she's been able to kind of calm down while still maintaining her career. Because now people want to get to know Trisha Paytas the person, not just the character. And this happens all the time and people don't recognize it. Paris Hilton was a character. That's not even her real voice. The show The Simple Life that she was on, that was all fake. It was supposed to look like reality TV and that they didn't know anything. But they were very well aware of all of this. And they're just playing characters. They're playing the Valley Girl, rich blondes. And that's why she has the vocal fry. It's because people expect that out of the character that she's playing. And she also leaned into this idea of being yourself, but also being a character at the same time and playing with the expectations of society. Because they'll criticize you for being these things, but those are the same exact things that they'll make you famous for. Andy Kaufman, Anna Nicole Smith, Paris Hilton, these were all inspirations for Trisha Paytas' character. And as we can see, this career has been very successful for her. And even though a lot of people will think that this is dumb luck, I would bet that this all was planned. And while all throughout it she's had real life struggles, as we all do, the character of Trisha Paytas is about playing with people's expectations. And I think that she'll have a talk show similar to somebody like Wendy Williams because I think there's a spot in the market for that. And because she's had a lot of life experiences and she has strong opinions and has a lot of connections, and I think that she would be able to offer an interesting insight. And that would be a really comfortable fit for her because she does something very similar with her podcasts. But I do expect to see her continue with her upward trajectory because I do think that there's a bigger plan going on. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see where Trisha Paytas, the person and the character, end up going in the future. And I know that some people will kind of find this hard to believe, but when I made a very similar video to this one on TikTok, she commented and confirmed. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell on the way out. If you want to see more content, check out my members only section, my Patreon, Twitch, and TikTok. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Thanks again, I'll see you in the next one.